Alright, so I've got my trusty tape measure. The first thing I'm going to do is just measure it with all 7 seats in place. So you actually get about 15 inches from the back of the third row of seats up until the end of the carpet, because I think that's probably the most amount of space you'll be able to use once the boot is shut. So that's 15 inches there. In terms of height, at the very back of the car, we are looking at about 30 inches. So not too bad a space with all 7 seats in place. So let's drop the third row of seats down, which is really easy to do in this trend because they're manual. And then we'll do the next one. So we have got, so from the back of the middle row of seats in their most rearward position, you've actually got about 43 inches. So that middle row is as far back as it will go, because you know that you can adjust the middle row backwards and forwards. So 43 inches, yeah, from the back of the boot to the back of the middle row of seats. Now I'm going to move the seats forward for the next bit and actually show you the maximum amount of space you can have with 5 passengers. Yeah, so still have 5 passengers, but obviously maximise your boot space. So I'm just going to move the seats forward and I'll measure it again. Because this is really handy if you need to put some bigger items in your car. Actually, what I've done is been a bit crafty here. I've put one side all the way forward and I've laid the other one flat, because then I'll be able to do 2 measurements in one. Clever thinking, huh? So if we go to the back of that second row, so that's almost 48 inches. So you get about another 5 inches roughly by moving that middle row forward to gain a bit more space. Now if we go full length and put the middle row seats down, so let's go all the way to the back of the front seat, that's got about 74 inches. That's bloody huge. What's 1.7 metres? So according to that, just over 6 foot. So if you're 6 foot in length, you can actually sleep in the back of a Ford Everest, which is pretty cool. Don't know how often you might need to do that. But anyway, there are the measurements for the length. We've got the height and we've got the back there. Let's have a look at the width. So I'm going to use the measurements here at the back, because that's most likely where you're going to need to put stuff in the boot. If the tape measure plays ball. So we have got, we're looking there. So that's about 44 inches. So it's actually a really usable space in the back of the Everest. Maximum length of about 6 foot, which is really good. 44 inches between these panels here, because obviously that's your biggest sort of boot area. And about 30 inches in height. So it's a really decent amount of space in the back of this new Ford Everest.